Well, don't go anywhere. I might need you to adjust
I'm
the
just going back here to turn my
picture.
sound on. Oh, yeah.
All right, I think we're live. What's up, everybody?
What
I
is
am
going
here.
on, everybody?
Yep, I'm here
Oh yeah,
with
we are here.
Luis Napoles.
Wolf.
Pronounce that right? Maybe. Okay, now I had close enough. Anyway, that doesn't actually go down, so we can get the boring
Hopefully this
bars.
doesn't just.
We're getting back on our feet.
Oh, there's a commercial.
Yeah. Got to get them YouTube premiums.
That's right.
All right.
I'm gonna share it to my people
this
as well.
way.
Like turn the phone or move
No, it's got to go that way, because like everything's like half out of the shot. It's got to go a lot that way. A little bit more. Maybe. That looks pretty not half bad. So, of course, now we're going to have to take that bulb out.
Oh, the one above me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, maybe not. Hang on. No, we're good.
I was going to say, I'm not looking forward to touching this hot.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it looks good on. I got it here on YouTube. It looks pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, it's the obligatory fix everything before we get started type deal for the camera. Eventually, I'm going to get my Elgato fixed out and learn OBS, but that sounds like way too much work. So,
Sounds like a lot of cables.
yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of cables and computers. The setup that I used to have when I was doing this, I'd have, especially for like when I was doing a Zoom interview or something, I'd have one laptop running the stream. I'd have another laptop for the YouTube feed and the comments and whatever else, and I'd have the third laptop for Zoom. And so I had like this big corner desk and like 3 laptops set up and cables and cords and everything going everywhere. So it's a little slow getting started with the iPhone, but it.
Yeah, when I was on staff with that other company, I was doing interviews, and every time I did an interview, it was a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
All right, let me share this here.
Yep. Yeah. We'll.
Can someone confirm that you guys can hear me on my end?
Yeah.
I know you can hear me, but
yeah. Yeah, I've actually got an extra Rode mic that's sitting right on top of my laptop speakers, so they should be able to hear us all fine. And I think we got the audios fixed and updated. All right, you say.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, a couple people commented already. You can hear me.
Yeah, that sounds great, actually. Cool. Thanks to Brian, whoever it was on the last. There was a guy that was giving us tech stuff because we started using. We started using these Rode mics, and they were a little quiet, and he's like.
A button and I broke it.
Yeah, and he's like, oh no, you just do this, and that, and you up the gain and whatever else, and so yeah, we're all good.
When I shoot my videos, I have to keep the gain super low.
Yeah.
Because as I start bowling and I start getting super loud, it starts peaking the audio. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is when I for my new little intros for my videos, I come down here and sit on the set and talk about some stuff. Well, every time I use the mic, but yeah, every time I go to start talking, everything just goes super full blast until it kind of calms down, and so I have to get in and edit after the fact and slow the audio down. But,
editing.
Yeah.
Editing, the bane of every YouTuber's existence.
Yeah, that's why most of these people have people that do it for them. I mean,
right? I've been doing a lot of research about this whole YouTube thing, and like that's the one thing that everyone tries to outsource right away.
Yeah, is the editing, because it's
now
just...
the guy who does the editing for Darren Tang. His name is Jesse something.
Okay.
He does fantastic work.
Yeah. Darren's videos all look really sharp, and that's the one.
The ones that Jesse edits, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want the list of what to buy. I just want give me my shopping list of all this stuff.
Yeah, no, it just somebody that does it for a living and knows all the ins and outs instead of I go out and climb on bridges for a week and then come back and try to fumble through a bunch of stuff that doesn't work, and it's kind of like it's good enough. I have to get the video up. But
That's my whole thing. Deadlines.
yeah,
Post them. Like a bad post is better than no post.
yeah. All right. So now that I think I think we got some people in here, so we're clicking along. We can go on ahead and
Ramble.
start rambling about some stuff.
Let's ramble.
So I am here with former Motive Lou, now Luis Napoles. Did I pronounce that right? Close enough.
Louis Napoles.
Lewis. Okay.
Yeah, makes me less Hispanic, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Luis?
Yeah. Lou.
Yeah. A lot of people keep calling me Free Agent Lou.
Yeah.
Actually, the name on your Discord, I like it a lot. Agent Lou.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got some like 007 type stuff going on.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taking credit for that one, dang nabbit.
All right, so you've had a chance to drill up. You drilled a bunch of Storm Roto 900 stuff here recently.
Right.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's one of your new favorites. I've
Yes.
just recently, over the last couple months, gotten into drilling global stuff, and all that stuff it's just dumb. I mean, I've got this. Yeah.
That one is a lot prettier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, my wife hates purple, but as soon as you get it and you're hanging, and it looks purple on the, but I mean on my stream here, it actually looks. You can see the blue pearl in there. That's one of those things. Is you hold it and it's like it looks like a high road pearl, but as soon as you actually have it in your face and get under the light, all you can see is the blue pearl in there. So there's
a lot of silver in there too.
Yeah. It's blue, silver, purple, whatever else. It almost looks like a high road pearl and a high road all at the same time. But
Yeah, and I have a pretty good history with purple balls.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. You're saying you just gotta you're gonna find out about that purple hammer live and
Yeah, I drilled a purple hammer, and there's no one on this stream or anywhere in the world that can convince me that is a urethane ball.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've thrown. Let me see. Pitch blue from back in the day. Is that what it was called? The
Yeah, the pitch blue. Yeah.
So I had a pitch blue, pitch black. I have a fast pitch, tank rampage, purple tank,
Mm-hmm.
rebel tank. I think that's it that I've thrown, and they all. I mean, some of them hook more than others,
Yeah.
but they all do this when you get left. They
Yeah.
all bail.
Uh-huh.
And then so I'm throwing the purple hammer, and I'm like, oh, it shaped a little bit. Let me move a little bit left, and we just keep. And I ended up getting to like third, fourth arrow, and it's still hooking. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
not your thing. You can't lie to me. Oh yeah, combat tank. Someone just kind of combat tank was pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it rolled like a like for the motive guys, it rolled like a desert tank that with a much larger core.
Yeah.
We were just looking up the core of the purple
Yeah.
hammer.
And that makes it make less sense.
Yeah, it's like it says 265-015, but I've thrown balls with differentials that are that low, and they flare this much
Yeah,
with
exactly.
a 3 3/8 layout.
Yeah.
And so I got a 4-inch pin on the purple hammer, and it freaking flares this much.
Yeah. I just don't even understand how that works out because it should go 70 feet and then try to go the opposite direction, but I don't know. I don't even know. And that's how do they design that in the first place? Like how do you even? And maybe it's one of those things where they just fell on that cover, and then they're like,
Well-
"Oh crap! Okay, so we gotta." So it probably started with the cover, and then they developed the core after the fact. If I had to guess, because I wouldn't start with
Yeah,
the core and go, "Oh, let's go 265-015."
Yeah, it's weird how they got to those numbers. Because like I remember when we got the microcell stuff for motive,
Yeah.
what we were told internally, and I don't know if I'm not on staff, so I can say whatever I want, but what I was told internally was they were trying to make a urethane reaction that was similar to the purple hammer, and then by accident they came across the microcell, and they were like, wow, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then that black tank was pretty bad, the covert tank.
Uh-huh.
And then the tank blitz was really good, and I had
Yeah.
a ton of success with the desert tank.
Yeah, I just drill, and the desert tank doesn't really look like urethane either. It actually picks up and moves, and it's got some bounce on it too. I gotta
Yeah,
get this
so
one real quick. Now that Lou is a free agent, do motive balls deflect?
so all bowling balls deflect. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? That's funny. And one of my favorite comments that I got on one of my videos was, "Hey, now that you're a free agent, what do you really think about the balls?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Yeah.
like what?
Well, and that's the thing is that is like the biggest compliment that I've ever gotten is when people ask me to do, well, can you review the Obsession tour? Can you review whatever else? I'm like, well, and initially it's kind of like, I got 600 videos on my channel and they're all Storm, all of them,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
Storm forever. It's like I'm a Storm
yeah,
staffer.
yeah.
But as soon I just go, no, no, I'm a Storm staffer. I just do this, and that. It was like, oh, I couldn't tell. And so if you're doing, so that's the thing. But if you're like just talking ball reaction and you're not doing the typical staffer hype nonsense, and
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
point
yeah.
where people can't tell that you're a staffer because you watch the staffer videos and they all have that same kind of look to them and the same buzzwords and whatever else. But if they can't tell that you're a staffer, then that's a pretty big compliment. As far as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
Yeah, my favorite is that every ball is smooth but angular, is early but it
Yeah.
gets down lane,
Yeah, I
hits the
know.
mid lane,
Yeah, everything. It clears the fronts, but it revs up really hard in the mids, but it still saves
Yeah.
enough for a sharp back end motion, and it's continuous, and so,
Yeah.
but that's one of those things, but the world is so, or everything is so heavy on marketing and advertising and everything like that you can't fault people. I don't think people pay attention to corporate advertising anymore. I just really don't think that they do. They just kind of ignore that, and then they wait for real people, I guess, to do the reviews and stuff, because obviously the company's going to try to get you to buy it, so it doesn't matter whether it sucks or not. They're going to try to sell it to you. So
I think one really big thing is, like, to me personally, there's no such thing as a bad ball.
yeah,
Because you can take the worst ball, whatever that is,
Mhm.
the worst ball ever made, and if you're a good enough bowler, you'll find a way to make it get to the pocket.
yeah,
Right now, whether it forces you out of your comfort zone or not, or on a specific pattern. So when people ask me, like, "Oh, you love every ball," and I'm like, "Well, in my videos, I try to get to the
Yeah.
pocket no matter what I'm throwing."
yeah. And that's what I think works out best for us is that I do the same thing. Like, I'm not just gonna go up there and, okay, well, let's see what it does, just throwing it normal from second arrow and then throwing it normal from third. I make the adjustments necessary because I'm trying to strike. I mean, I'm trying to, because that's what everybody else is trying to do too. They're not just gonna go, okay, well, I'm gonna throw it normal from here. Oh, that hooked too much. Well, I'm gonna throw it normal from here and whatever else. You got to make adjustments whether you're playing straighter,
Yeah.
because I mean, you'll be firmer with your speed and less with your hand from straighter. As you get deep, you'll kind of roll the ball a little bit more. And so I'm trying to get the ball to strike from wherever I'm throwing it from, instead of just saying, well, I'm just going to do this one thing with this one hand position, this one speed and one rev rate and whatever else, and just kind of find wherever it looks good from. Because people, again, there's all kinds of different styles that watch the videos. And so
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah.
fire it straight up, you have people that get deeper, and so you're giving them a look, or trying to make it look familiar for them from as many different places as you can. But I don't see a whole lot of point if you're not trying to strike with the ball. And it's not like you're trying to strike to put that on video. You're just trying to line up and trying to show people what they could possibly have for wherever they stand, wherever they play from, however they throw it, whatever else.
Yeah, like, a lot of the messages that I get from people asking me, they'll be like, "Hey, I stand on 20 and I throw it up 10.
Yeah.
What ball's good for me?" I'm like, well, I mean, there's so many factors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny because a couple of years ago when, the Brad and Kyle thing started 4 or 5 years ago, and then they started getting
Blown up.
Yeah, I think they might be at 100,000 subscribers now. If they're not, they're close. And
Yeah, last time I checked, they were super. I'll check
yeah,
them
it was
out.
like 99. 99,500 or something like that last time I looked. But
97,600.
oh, okay. So I mean, to be that close, I mean, because
They have 20 million views on their channel.
yeah, and
God.
that's kind of, we started around the same time, and that Brad Miller's is from Kansas City, so I see him all
Yeah.
the time at Jonathan Hawes. Actually grew up with him.
You have
yeah.
6 million views total on your channel. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's how big. Like, that is crazy.
Well, we started about the same time. It's just they have they went so far above and beyond, and
Yeah.
I climb over bridges and dodge snakes and other stuff. So, but
yeah,
I mean,
we won't even talk about my views.
Yeah, for a bowling. So,
600,000.
yeah. But from a bowling standpoint, like at 100,000 views, YouTube sends you a silver play button, or 100,000 subs.
Subscribers, yeah.
Yeah, they send you a silver play button. So to think that a bowling channel could get a silver play button is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, people ask me what's the ceiling, and I'm like, wherever Brad and Kyle get to.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's different for, like, I mean, I don't want to say guys like us, but when you think of, like, Brad and Kyle, when you think of, like, Darren Tang, like, they're professional bowlers. They're going to get viewers and subscribers that, like me, like, I have no desire to ever go on tour, ever.
Yeah, no.
So, I bowl 1 or 2 regionals a year, and sure, I'll vlog my journey to one of these regionals, but these guys are out on tour. Like, Darren just got to vlog his first ever PBA win.
Yeah, and then he got the point bonus for he had the highest amount of points in the summer swing, and he got $20,000 for it. So that's a bunch of draw and a bunch of help that those guys had that we don't have. But
it also helps that Belmo shared his videos on his channels.
Yeah. Darren was actually watching my Zen review on his Twitch stream the other day, I guess, because he had the
nice.
that was his thumbnail for one of his Twitch streams. He was at the beginning of my Zen video, so that was
free
cool.
advertisement.
But yeah. But so a lot of the guys, the guys from the house, they all most of them live in Wichita, and so we got Mitch Hoope here that's close. We got Packy Hanrahan, Brad Miller. Kyle is from St. Louis. He shows up every once in a while, but we see a pretty good handful of those guys just at our local sweepers and stuff. And so Packy asked me a couple of years ago, back when the house channel was just starting and they were starting to get into that, and he was starting to get into video stuff. He's like, so tell me a little bit about the YouTube thing and whatever else, and what's tough about it and what's whatever. And I was what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. It's like, okay, well, I stand here and I throw here. What ball should I get? And then I said, well, yeah, and then most people bowl. I said it in my burner solid review. I'm like, most people bowl on a house shot. Most people bowl with the ball the way it came out of the box, and so I have to review it that way, because people can say, okay, well, because I was expecting, okay, well, it's a little over-under, the burner solid's a little over-under for me out of the box with factory shine hut. Well, have you tried sanding it, or how about throwing it on this pattern, or whatever else? And it's like, yeah, I understand that, but I have to review it the way it comes out of the box, because that's the only experience that people are going to, the vast majority of people are going to have with it, is they're going to throw it out of the box on their league shot, and if it works, they'll keep throwing it, and if it doesn't, they'll get mad about it and sell it on SRG BBFS for after throwing it for 2 games or whatever else. So, but I was talking to him. I said, and then people want to see stuff on a sport pattern and say, oh, well, what does it look like on a sport pattern? And he kind of blinked at me. He's like, oh, I guess it's a good thing that there's only like 8,000 sport patterns. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right?
Minimum.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, people ask me to review balls on sport, and I'm like, that the vast majority of bowlers will never bowl on a sport shot ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many people go to nationals every year on a good year, like 20, 30,000?
Yeah.
And there's how many USBC members?
Yeah. Yeah, the vast majority.
What I mean? So,
So, and that's really interesting, because I'm going to make a video about this soon if I ever get the time. I'm so far behind on stuff that just didn't even. I could take like a month off and I wouldn't get close. But so there was one year, I think it was when I got my new camera, and then the Astrophysics IQ Emerald A bunch of stuff I was filming on sport patterns at 2 different centers.
I
And
remember
so
those. Yeah,
as
yeah.
new balls came out, I was using the stock footage from all those sport pattern videos as comparison to newer balls, and not saying, oh yeah, well this is the footage from this, and I was on this sport pattern, that sport pattern. Not a single person, not one,
Yeah.
said, oh well that looks like that's on a tougher pattern, because that stuff does not show through on a video. You'll notice
Yeah.
when, okay, so sport patterns, you leak a little bit right, it's going to hang, you get it inside, it's going to hook more. And that's the same thing with, well, what does it look like at this surface or that surface or whatever else? It's like shiny, it's going to go longer and be flippier. Sanded, it's going to be earlier and smoother. And, a lot of it depends on lane surface too. So there are too many variables to try to fit them into a video. And number two, to try to get them to show through on a video, because I don't know that there's a bunch of times. So I'll go out and I'll film, and then I will write my review, and then I will start putting together everything, and I'll say, okay, well this ball rolls like this, and it's different from this ball in this way, and then I'll get them on video, and I'm like, they look exactly the same. And I'm sitting here sounding like an idiot saying, okay, well this one's a lot earlier, and this one's a lot later, this one's sharper, this one's whatever else, and they don't look any different on video. And I'm like, okay, well I have to rewrite this thing now because I sound like an idiot because they look exactly the same on video.
Yeah, look at this. House hack bowling, just the perfect comment. Bowlers really can be pleased. End of story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a fact.
But and the other thing is, we can, I can kind of sit here and complain about it, but at the same time too, it's expensive, it's time consuming, there's so many variables in it that you can't make it mathematic, but people try to make it mathematic because of how many variables there are in it. It's like, well, if we can at least lock some kind of constants down, or say, okay, well, this equals this equals this. Never at any point does it do that, because we have a house that we go to in Kansas City, and they normally put down this certain pattern usually plays fairly well. We got a traveling sports series in Kansas City, and this one house fits the pattern, keeps the scoring pace perfect. It keeps you honest, but it's not impossible, and whatever else. But it plays different every single time we go there, and depending on the time of the year. So it's the same machine, it's the same center, it's the same pattern, and it plays different every time we're there. So yeah, so it's one of those things that it's just so hard to lock all this stuff down.
Well, that's the thing. Like, even if there wasn't 8,000 sport patterns, even if there was only one sport pattern, right? Let's say there was only one sport pattern.
Yeah.
Pair to pair, they're still going to be completely different.
Yeah. House
to house, I mean, even if there was only one, it would still play different every single time you bowled. And I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Well,
especially pair to pair.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that I'm really finding out left-handed. Is right-handed, it's kind of like, okay, well, if you're bowling like a 6-gamer or an 8-gamer, you're going to hit different depending on where you start. You're going to hit different pairs at different stages of transition. It's like, okay, well, is it who I'm following? Is it the pair? Is it the game we're in? Whatever else. But on the left side, it's fresh. Every single pair that I go to is fresh. And so I'm really noticing the pair-to-pair differences and lane-to-lane differences, because you get the same machine, the same oil pattern, and it's fresh every single time you're moving. And I really pick up on lane differences a whole lot more than I do, and I don't know how the pros, a lot of them carry around booklets and whatever else and said, okay, this lane hooks, is 2 and 1 more than this lane or whatever else. I'm like, I don't know how you can tell, because if, maybe you're in a situation where there's an odd number of people on the pair, like there's 3 people on a pair or 5 people on a pair, well, the 10th frame is going to get finished, so there could be more traffic on one lane than the other, and there's all kinds of other stuff, and it's one of those things that it's just so tough to lock down, and you don't want to kind of like throw it back in people's faces or tell them I have no idea, because then you sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
But it's not that. It's like I don't really know how to answer this question. So, or there isn't an answer for the question, I guess.
Well, like as a righty, if I have the nut look on the fresh, I mean, that could be the end of the story right there. I mean, I
Yeah.
can have a really good look on the fresh and shoot 250, 260 game one, and then the next 7 games I'm completely lost
Yeah.
because now I'm following all these different trends.
Uh-huh.
Like you said, who you follow matters.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know because I've never been lefty, but as a lefty, if you have like the nut look on the fresh, it
It's
typically stays there.
Yeah, it's gonna stay there, and depending on the pattern, you still got to be flexible enough because there's been several times where I've had kind of a nut look and I move and then it's just a little bit different. The lane hooks a little bit sooner, a little bit later, and because there's not a track on the left side, and then the angles are with the right side having a track built in, there's a little bit of friction or kind of stability on the left side when you move to a different pair, and it's a little, the topography's off, or it's a little bit, it hooks a little bit more, hooks a little bit less. You've got to play. It's just all on the left side. It's all angles. It's just all angles, and if that angle gets off a little bit, you can fish for a while trying to find it, and then you go back.
Just go to a promotion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's normally what happens. So, but
Yeah, that's a ball that I'm gonna have to find a way to put into my bag because
it's
a lot of people like that ball.
Well, and that's the thing, is that nobody liked it when it came out because it's a storm ball that acts like a motive ball, kind of, or like a
That's super slow. Yeah.
it's that super slow, round, continuous, whatever else, and because storm people just like to see the ball turn sideways on the back end.
Boom. Yeah.
And it does because it has a really low absorption rate. It's virtually microcell polymer. I mean, it and microcell are crazy close, and it does kind of get that thing where it doesn't really absorb oil, and so it kind of gets that urethane thing where it hooks a bunch the first few times you throw it, and then it starts getting smoother and smoother and smoother and smoother. And I treat it like urethane. I really just treat it like stronger urethane, like something like a purple tank or whatever.
Now, did you like it on the right side as well, or did you?
Yeah, I loved it on the right side. I made a million videos for it too because I thought, well, this is going to be one of the best sport pattern balls ever, and people need to know about it because it's early and it's smooth and it's slow and whatever else, and people are like, oh, well, it doesn't hook or it doesn't whatever else.
You
And
still stand by your review of the best ball ever.
yeah, like it's my favorite ball of all time. I'm sitting here staring at 16 of them sitting on my shelves in the basement. So.
But like it kind of goes. So we were talking about before we got on the air, where like I like those big, slow, chuggy bowling balls. Like that reality, man. So one of my favorite balls ever was the Sherlock.
Yeah,
right. And so that the year that ball came out, I threw it in the league all year.
Yeah.
And I must have had 20, 25, 279 games that year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I whacked them all year with that one ball. And then, then I signed with Motive, the ball's gone. And then you were talking about that ball being pretty close to the Sherlock, the reality being pretty close to the Sherlock.
Yeah.
And I have a blank Sherlock, and I don't even know if I want to drill it now.
No,
I mean, that's how good the reality is.
Yeah, the reality is almost dead on right on top of it. I think the reality is a little bit more, it's not quite as straight off at least I had 2 of them. And they were a little bit straight. The Lock series, just in general, was a little bit straighter off the end of the pattern. The reality picks up and it wants to just go, but the general reaction is kind of the same. It hooks a bunch, but it's clean up front, but it still goes hard in the mid lane, and it's really continuous.
It still finds a way to. No, that ball does not retain energy at all. You'd be lying if you said that.
No.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so anyway, let's talk a little Zen Master and RST X-2 since that's they released yesterday, finally, after being delayed however many times. So they're finally available, and you probably better go get, if you want one, you probably better order it or go order it at Bowler's Mart. Follow one of our links.
Yeah, use Luke's link.
Yeah, use either link. I don't even care. But
let me pull these up here.
Plop a couple of your links in the chat. I've got stuff posted all over my channels now and in Discord and whatever else. So plop a couple of your links in the chat.
Oh no, I'm talking about the. I'm looking up the Zen Master and the RST X-2.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, listen, use Luke's links for everything. Just sub to my channel because I'm like I'm like 180 away
Oh,
from
yeah,
5,000.
Uh-huh.
The road to 5,000.
Yeah, we'll get you there. So, yeah, let me, yeah, James, if you can drop a link to Lou's channel in the chat or whatever
Yeah, I'm sure
that
he's probably already working
that
on it.
texty thing is going. But anyway,
So,
yeah, what's
the
up?
thing with the RST X2 is it is like I don't want to sound like hyperbolic or whatever, but it is like for me it is the cleanest ball and probably the most angular ball I've ever thrown. When I reviewed this ball and I compared it to the Zen, because I loved the Zen, and I knew I was going to love the Zen because
Oh yeah.
for 4 years with Motive, I had like maybe one like really angular ball the whole time, and then the Zen just like blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then that RST X2 for me, I do come around it a little bit. I'm not as forward as like a lot of people, but that ball loves like big giant angles.
Yeah, yeah.
And no matter how far left I got, I just kept chugging it into the friction, and it just kept coming around. I mean, that RST X2 is pretty good, and to me, it doesn't roll anything like the X1. The X1 for me is like super chuggy. Maybe because I haven't broken it in enough yet, but that X2, man, that thing shapes like nobody's business.
Yeah, so the covers are really, really different. So E-Trax for rotor grip stuff is a lot like R2S is for Storm. So think Astrophysics, High Road Pearl, that type of stuff. Microtrax that's on the RST is basically nano.
It's nano.
It's based so it's like IQ Emerald versus IQ Tornado Pearl type of stuff.
Oh, so night and day.
Or like, yeah, Idol versus Idol Pearl. I mean, they're two really, really different things, and they work out well together. My X2 rolls a lot like the X1, but the X1's a whole lot earlier and smoother.
Yeah.
So now, and it's funny that you say that. So you haven't thrown a UC2 yet, have you? A Rubicon UC2?
No.
It is cleaner and sharper than the X2. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because the X2 is the E-Trax Plus, where they buff the strength a little bit to kind of, because the UC2 is just crazy. I mean, it is nutso fast. Super clean, super fast, but sometimes it can be too clean and too fast. And so, plus,
here, E-Trax.
Yeah.
E-Trax Pearl.
So it's just the base E-Trax, and the X2 is E-Trax Plus. So they buff the strength back up a little bit to make it, give a little bit more traction, a little bit more blend, but still pretty flippy. So.
Well, what I do like about the RST core is that you don't get a whole lot of those really high differential balls that also have a high RG.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you get into like the mid 50s with the differential, the RG is always in the basement.
Yeah,
4.7,
it's 240.
4.8.
Yeah, it's 240 something. So and that's the thing, is that's what I like about the RSTs and the UFOs too. They're in that 252, 253 range. Oh, so yeah,
you like the alert.
Yeah, I threw it all night last night, and it was better than I was. But I really like the alert because it's rolly, and it is kind of sharp, but it's not sharp at the same time. It kind of fools you a little bit because it wants to be flippy, but it's not flippy. It's really rolly. And whenever I'd start trying to open angles up, it doesn't really like that too much. And so playing it from straighter, I get that length, and then I get that little bit of roll through the pocket. And so I carry that and the X2. I play the alert from straight, and then if I need to get deep, I just go the X2, and it wants to get deep and go.
Well, I've been saying this since I first drilled it. So the UFO alert was the first ball that I drilled after becoming a free agent.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was just random. I was at the one of the trade shows that I did, and I had an extra ripcord velocity, and someone was like, "Hey, like, do you want to trade for it?" And he happened to have a blank UFO alert. I was like, "Sure." And so I think that this UFO alert can benefit for me with a little bit of surface, just to knock the shine off. I think it's a little,
That's the thing is
it's too clean and doesn't shape.
Yeah, Storm factory gloss. I'm sure everybody uses kind of the same thing, but factory gloss is crazy.
Well,
it is.
So before I was on Motive Staff, I threw nothing but, Storm and Roto. And I used to like going like 1,000 grit and then using the step 2, like that compound finish.
Yeah.
and so that really didn't make it super super shiny.
Yeah.
So I think the next time I throw this alert, I'm gonna knock the shine off, even just maybe like, I don't know, like 3,000,
Yeah.
and just give it another try, because it does look good. I mean, I love these, like this pink, this like purple greenish colors.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what I keep. I've talked about reactive scuff a lot. The reactive scuff will take the shine off and get it to like 3,000, but it's like a 3,000 sheen. It's not quite that hard, kind of Abralon or True Cut 3,000. So it just kind of knocks the shine off. It blends it a little bit, but you still get about the same length and about the same friction response. It just makes it a whole lot blendier or more forgiving, I guess. It just kind of takes the edge off without changing it a whole bunch.
So that reactive scuff, that's kind of like that Powerhouse Clean and Dull. Is it kind of like the same thing?
It's same idea. It's just cleaner with an abrasive in it. So yeah, that Powerhouse, whatever else. But I'm a Storm guy, so reactive scuff.
Now let me tell you, the Zen Master. This thing right here. This is gonna go with me everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that a lot of people may not like it just because of how big and chuggy and slow this is.
Yeah.
But this thing is going to go with me everywhere. I was telling you earlier that I have a comparison coming out on Sunday, actually tomorrow morning, within 24 hours. Zen Master versus Phase 2. And, the Phase 2 is I mean, no matter what brand you throw, you can't deny that the Phase 2 is all-time great.
Yeah.
And they're so similar. I mean, the cores are virtually the same. I think it was only a 1 point of differential that was different.
Yeah.
Because I think the RG is the same, and then the Phase 2 is like a 050.
Phase 2,
this is 051.
Yeah, it's 050 or 052, one of the two. But yeah, they're both 249, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But the Phase 2 shapes a little bit more. So, like, for me, it was like I can start a little bit straighter with the Zen Master, because for me, I'm always looking for what ball can I play the straightest with.
Yeah.
And then once the Zen Master kind of started to bail down lane because it doesn't shape a whole lot, not like the Zen, going into the Phase 2, because sometimes you can't get into that super shiny ball.
Yeah.
So like for me on the house shot anyway, going from the Zen Master to the P2 was, what do the kids say now? Mint.
Mint? I don't know. But
there we go. Shim record 248051. Yeah, so it was.
Oh, okay. So the Phase 2. So it's a tick lower on the RG. Then.
On the RG.
Yeah.
There we go.
But it's a very similar idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Zen Master is a little earlier and a little slower than the Phase 2.
Yeah.
Is what I'm reading, and this is one of those things where I don't. We were talking earlier about making the videos and stuff. I don't like the Zen Master at all. Like, it is too early. It's too slow. If I want that kind of reaction, I'm going to be throwing an Idle Pro, even though it's a sharper cover. But I can, between the RSTX1, the Idle Pro, Phase 2, Reality, I get that kind of different steps of early and strong, but early and smooth, or a little bit early and, so basically the friction responses just change between all of those. And the Zen Master is so early and slow that it would be like almost like a urethane application for me. And then once it gets down there, I have the ProMotion. So it's one of those things where you're doing the video and people want to hear what you really think about it. But what my opinion is really irrelevant. It's like, how does the ball react? I can see this being great for people that hit the living crap out of it. Heavy hands or people that like to go really direct. Like, again, you say that you want to just find something to go straight with. It's early and it's slow. It's gonna keep you in play. It's going to keep you in the pocket, especially on really tough stuff. It's going to give you that early traction and that blend down lane to even a bunch of stuff out. And sometimes urethane's just not in play. Sometimes it's just not. And sometimes the Phase 2 can be a little quick, and the Reality is definitely a little too quick sometimes, and the Axiom's a little too quick. The the idle doesn't really like a whole bunch of angle, but I think it's even a little bit firmer down lane than the master is. And so if you can't use something like a purple tank or a pitch black or whatever else, and you have to step up into reactive, I think that the Zen Master bridges the gap between something like a pitch black or a purple tank and even a phase 2 that's still pretty early and smooth, but it is kind of boomy at the same time. It likes going, it likes continuing, but the Zen Master is just that early tanky chuggy. So we have to make sure that when we're doing the reviews, we have to give it its fair dues. Even if you don't like it, you got to show it off. It's like, well, I don't like it, but there's plenty of people that are going to like it, and so I just have to show off the reaction and leave the opinion out.
Correct. Yeah. Well, so I just reviewed, or I just uploaded a couple days ago, the IQ Tornado Pearl.
Yeah.
And that ball has a lot of the similarities to not as far as hook potential or anything, but a lot of similarities to the Zen Master, where I can't move inside with the Nano Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of the video, I still got left and tried to create some shape, and it just doesn't happen.
No.
The Zen Master is not going to be a ball. I don't want to say for anyone, but it's not going to be a ball that I'm going to stay in for an entire block.
Yeah.
And forget a long format tournament, even just a house shot. I can't imagine a scenario where I would be throwing a Zen Master for 3 games.
Yeah.
Whereas something like the Phase 2 does have that ability because it creates more shape.
Yeah.
The Phase 2 is one of those balls where you can start with it and then just ride that horse.
Yeah, you can get left with that one. The Zen Master doesn't like really getting deep.
Angle at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the IQ Tornado Pearl is the same thing, where it's got more dig and it's earlier, and it looked great as long as you can stay in that zone that it likes to be in.
Yeah. I think if I was a lefty, I think if my exact game was left-handed, the Nano Pro would be one of my favorite balls ever. Ever.
It's one of mine, too. I'm getting ready to drill a new one here pretty quick because I just used and abused the other one. I shot my first lefty 300 with one of them. And, yeah. So, yeah, the Tornado Pearl is great, but it's great from, outside of third arrow. It doesn't
Yeah. It's for me, as soon as I start having it create some shape with that Nano Pearl, there's just no chance.
No, because it's got it's a stronger cover, but again, it doesn't have the core to get it.
Yeah. So that diff is way too low.
Yeah, actually, what I have found with the IQs on both sides of the lane, I like going 4-inch pin to pap, pin up, because now you're going to make the RG lower, but at the same time, you're going to buff the differential up a little bit, and that differential allows you to get away with a stronger layout without making it too early and pukey. Like if you put a 4-inch pin on something like an Idol or a Zen Master or whatever else, it's going to burn up in your backswing.
Yeah.
But the IQs...
It's funny because my Nano Pearl is drilled with a 4-inch pin.
Yeah.
It's a 4-inch pin by 30-degree bow angle.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. 4-inch pin up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that core
That's
really
funny.
really likes that stuff. So. All right, let me check the chat and see. I've been ignoring it the whole.
If they're really clipped, you can use the Zen Master. Yes.
Yeah, and
That
that's
seems more like a statement.
That's what. Yeah. Storm B28 is a pretty accomplished bowler. His teams normally do really well at nationals, so they know what they're about. He knows what he's talking about. So, but
Deja bowler.
But that's what I'm gonna say. The Zen Master is gonna be a great team ball at national for typical. As soon as we get, I don't even know with the COVID stuff coming back. Like we just got kicked out of the office again. In my office, we were gone for almost a year and a half. We just got back in there a month ago, and now they're kicking us all back out again. So I don't even know what Nationals is going to look like next year, but if they get back to the normal patterns that are 28, 29 mils, 39 feet, the Zen Master would be a dumb look on the team pattern.
Hey, this year at Nationals, I threw a purple tank for 8 games.
Yeah.
I threw a Jackal Ghost game 1 of team for 140. And didn't throw another game under 190 with a purple tank the rest of the way.
Yeah, we tried to use I go with another lefty, and we tried to use urethane in team, and it was just hooking 3 times in the arena. Which was weird, is that we used urethane in the center, but we couldn't use it in the arena because it was hooking, it was hooking 20 feet, 30 feet, and then 40 feet again. So
for me this year more than usual. See, I bowl league at South Point, so. And then last year, or the year before COVID, we bowled league in the stadium. And this year we bowled league in the stadium. And I've always had the center hooking way more.
Yeah.
And so, this year I threw 2 purple tanks, a stronger drilled one, and then when that one started to bail, I went to a pin down super weak one, and then just stayed on it.
Well, and this year, I think the thing was the volume was about the same, but the team pattern was longer, so it had that volume spread out a little bit more, and so it was just, urethane was just too early and weird in the arena, but even, in the center, I think, was 39 feet, but it had about the same volume, and so we were actually able to get away with using urethane. I was kind of surprised, because I thought it'd be, again, because I know enough.
The opposite.
I've known enough that I thought, okay, we're going to be able to throw urethane on team in the arena, and then we're going to have to throw something else in the center. But
yeah, I am really looking forward to this year's nationals, or the next one coming up. Be able to throw some different equipment besides being trapped in the one urethane ball.
Yeah,
because I had nothing. I had literal air for all of practice in team, and game 1 I threw a bunch of different balls, ended up with a ghost. It was just way too much. So I'm looking forward, especially now that I like throwing urethane, and because I am a free agent for right now, and I say for right now because maybe one day that'll change. But if I can throw a purple hammer at nationals, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I'm kind of glad that we have a few. I don't have a whole lot of urethane options, but the pitch black's really good, and the fast pitch is really good for it's a whole lot weaker than the pitch black, and it kind of shines up like the pitch purple, and but if there's an abundance of friction there, the fast pitch works great. If I need to create a little bit of friction, the pitch black's fine. And then again, the ProMotion is I call my urethane bag the fast pitch, the pitch black, and the ProMotion, because I've got one that's lane shine. I actually threw my ProMotion for all the team.
So what's the deal with the pitch purple? No one ever refers to that ball as urethane.
Well, it's not good. Number one, there's a few people that like it, but it's one of those things where it tries to be urethane and it tries to be reactive at the same time. It does shine up a whole lot faster, like a true urethane ball. It just doesn't shine up. Like, I can throw my pitch black for an eternity, and it might get a little shinier, but it just doesn't shine up. The pitch purple shined up pretty quick, and it tries to be a longer and more responsive urethane ball, but it ends up feeling more like an entry level, like a tropical surge or something, where if it hits friction, it's way too boomy, and if you don't catch any friction, it just sails and does nothing. So it's really tough. It's really super niche. You're just never going to find a use for it. And if you do get into that kind of zone, I'm going to be throwing a fast pitch, because it's halfway in between the purple. It's a little bit longer and it's a little bit more responsive than a pitch black, but it's not as dumb as that pitch purple. So
yeah, I have a blank pitch purple, and I don't know. I have too many urethane balls already. I have a purple tank, purple hammer, fast pitch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a need for a couple more.
Yeah.
Especially because I only bowl league. I don't. You know what I mean? If I was out on
that's
tour,
the other thing.
Story, yeah.
Yeah, like I bowl league the vast majority of the time, and I've got my fast pitch, my pitch blacks, and a 2-ball bag down here. The ProMotions, I have 2 ProMotions now, or I have holes in 2 of them. They go everywhere. And so whenever I need urethane, I just put the 2 urethanes and the ProMotion in my urethane bag, and then go with that. But it'd be nice to have access to some of these other, because I really like the look of the purple tank. The purple hammer's one of the best ever. There's no way to debate that. But for what I actually have, I've got enough to work with without complicating things. And so I think that that's the one thing. And Jonathan and I are going to have one of our streams where we're going to bring James on because James is a free agent now too. And it's one of those things where Storm has enough companies to where I have a handful of different looks, and Motive's been really successful just being Motive, because pretty well every single time they put something out, it's pretty solid. At least here in the last couple of years, I threw nothing but Motive before I signed with Storm. That was back in the Covert Revolt, Primal Rage, Sigma Tour. I mean, you're talking monsters. And then
say less.
Yeah, and then they had a couple of years where they got like stuff like the Chronic Paranoia and stuff like that. So they had a couple of years where they weren't great, but now they're kind of, I think, on the upswing again with the equipment. But at the same time, there's not a whole lot of. It's hard with just one company to find all the reactions that you need. Especially
because Motive is so good at making those big, rolly, chuggy balls. Yeah. And when you had, like, for me, like, when I had to get away from that, like, because I only bowl in League. So in League, eventually you have to get into something that's going to be a little boomier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'll tell you what, that Super Enzo, for anyone watching that likes the Motive brand, that Super Enzo, I think it was Mike Magdalene that posted on his Facebook a couple days ago, and that his 3 favorite Motive balls of all time were Venom Shock 1, Jackal Ghost 2, Super Enzo 3.
Yeah.
And I threw my Enzo for like a week before I, resigned or whatever. And that Enzo, I said it on Facebook, and I'll say it here too. It was the best Motive ball in recent history, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's not even close.
Yeah, Jonathan's been throwing his a lot here lately, and especially because he's got a lower rev rate. He tends to play straighter, and so something that gets through the front's a little bit more, it's a little bit cleaner, and it's still got that Motive type of roll, but it's longer and sharper. So it's closer to it's closer to a high road type reaction, or like a longer and stronger Venom Shock or something like that. It's got that same kind of really arcy motion to it, but it pushes a lot more, and it's a whole lot cleaner, it's a whole lot flippier. And so when he gets on some burn towards the end of the second game, into the third game, he can go right to it, and it looks great.
Well, like, I thought that the Supra, the original Supra, I thought that was close, but it was just entirely way too clean. I mean, that thing was super allergic to oil. I mean, you got that in the soup, and it had zero chance.
Yeah.
So whatever they did to the cover with this I think it's in Fusion Hybrid. I think Fusion. Let me check, because not. I deleted all that stuff from my. Let's see. In Fusion Hybrid. So whatever they did to that cover, it actually handles the oil a little bit, but still shapes.
Yeah.
It's it's really good, and I think that's another ball, kind of like the RST X-2, where I think it'll benefit from knocking the shine off a little bit. I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
Before I donated that Supra. But I think this one would have been one of those balls that would have really benefited from just knocking the shine off.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of the RST X-2, let's talk a little bit about that, seeing as how
let's.
That's the title of the stream here. But
yeah, right. Yeah. If you steer me off course, man, I'll end up.
No, I ramble for days. I mean, I just
look. Yeah. This ball right here, one of the best looking balls I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aesthetically. So what layout do you guys have on yours?
I've got I'm going to flip mine towards the camera now. The pin is in the ring finger, so it's 4 3/4 by 3.5 by 3.5, and I love doing these pin and ring. Or for somebody because I've got my axis is 5 3/8 over and a half up. Most people are in the 4.5 to 5 range, and so that would put their middle finger in the pin. But it really splits the difference between pin up and pin down, because sometimes pin up can be too much and want to kind of quit, and pin down can be a little long and lopey. And so pin in the middle finger, the ring finger, splits that difference and puts it right in that perfect zone, to where it's not too early and aggressive and it's not too long and slow. And so that's what I've been doing with a lot of my stuff. And so the 4 3/4 pin gives me enough flare to work with, I've got a 3.5-inch PSA to PAP, which is about a 45 val. So basically, this is kind of like 40 by 4 3/4 by 45, or something like that.
So okay, so we have very similar layouts.
Yeah, exactly. Because I like it to
Yeah.
get, and that's what it does, is it gives you a bunch of flare, but it still gets you through the fronts okay. It winds up really hard in the mid lane, and then it kind of walks in.
Every
Well,
buzzword
well,
possible.
no, I didn't know, but I didn't say it still was
Yeah,
flippy.
yeah,
I like
yeah,
the
yeah.
slower. That's the thing, is I kind of like it to get through the fronts, wind up really hard in the mid lane, and then kind of walk in. So it's not. I don't like the long and flippy or whatever else. And now on the right side, I like the longer and flippy stuff. So I tended to go like 6 by 5 or 60 by 5 by 40 was kind of what I did on the right side of the lane because I had a higher rev rate. Now it's in the 40 by 4 3/4 by 45 range. So it's kind of it winds up hard and then it kind of walks in. I get that really continuous motion from it. So I like using that quite a bit. Angel's layout is 5 by 3.5 by 3.5, and I think I need to recheck her axis point. I have an armadillo, so I need to get out and do that. I think her layouts are probably closer to like 4.5 by 4 by 2.5 or 3 or something like that, because she spins a little bit more now. So I think I need to recheck her axis
So
point.
maybe
But
I just need to
Yeah.
yeah,
So my axis is 4 1/4 over by 1/8 up.
yeah,
And it used to be, oh my God, like 3 or 4 years ago, it was 3 over by 0. I mean, I was
yeah.
my ball was going
Super
this way.
spinner,
on the
yeah.
lane, you know? Yeah. So, for me,
Helicopter ball.
so this layout, I call this layout the medium everything, like full middle of the road. It's 45 by 4.5 by 45. So like everything is just, so it puts the pin just over my middle finger, mass bias right by the thumb.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine if I would have gone something like 65 or 70 by 5 by 20 or something like that. I mean, this thing would boom like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I mean, a 4.5-inch pin is pretty strong. The valve angle of 45 is not very low. It still booms. I can't even imagine if I would have gone like with a super boomy layout.
But yeah,
Maybe I'll draw another one.
Yeah. This is one I haven't gotten a chance to throw a whole lot because again, I like my alert a lot. The alert's an earlier, smoother kind of version of this, and I don't get the lanes just don't transition. So most of the time, whatever ball I start with, I stay in that, and I just have to move a couple boards throughout the course of the night. Now,
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice until you have nothing. I was going to say another word.
Yeah, yeah.
Until you have absolutely nothing and you're chasing it for 3 games. So it's kind of a funny story. There was back when I was a righty, we had one night where the righty is just obliterated in our scratch league. We shot, for a 4-man team, we shot 1089 the second game. There's 2 of us that had the front 9, and the low righty score for 8 people, the low righty score was like 680 or 690. I shot 80 something. One of my teammates shot 790. The other one shot like 7. We had like a 750 and a 730 or something. So we just went nuts. And the low
730.
Yeah, the low righty score.
730 in your top 5.
Yeah, exactly. The low righty score was 680 or 690, and the lone lefty on the pair, who's a pretty solid lefty, shot 630. And he's like, I want each one of you to remember this. The next time I shoot 780 and you guys shoot nothing, I want you to remember this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so the X-2, I haven't gotten a whole lot of chances to throw it because it's longer and it's flippier than the alert, and it opens me up just a little bit more than I want to open up. But it's one of those things, like, you watch the video and it's just dumb for both of us, but it's a little too much. And that's the hard thing to explain to people sometimes, is that it's like you get on the video and you say, oh man, this ball's great and whatever else, and it's like, oh well, why don't you use it, or why don't pros, if it's so good, why don't the pros throw it on TV or whatever else? It's like, well, it may not be better than something else. Being good and being better than something else, especially when you've got so many balls to choose from, like us. I mean, you drilled every motive ball, you drilled a bunch of storm stuff. And so you can only take so many balls to league or to a
Yeah,
tournament. You can
yeah.
only throw so many at the same time. So then you start getting into breaking it down even further. It's like, yeah, I've got 15 great balls that I have to narrow down to 6. And so you have
Yeah.
to get really nitpicky.
Yep. I don't
Well,
know.
better is all relative to what you're bowling on. You know what I mean? A lot of people would say that, that a purple hammer, for example, is better than, say, a reality until you get on a, 48-foot pattern.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or someone might say the reality is better than a pitch black until you're bowling on wolf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all relative.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what a lot of people don't understand is that everything's good. It just depends what you're bowling on.
Yeah, there are no bad balls, there are just bad ball reactions.
Yes.
So, yeah, because everything can look good, every ball can deflect. Given the situation.
Yeah, it's funny because we were indirectly told not to comment on that video, that radical throwbot video. But, I'm a free agent, do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
And, you and I have spoke about this before, obviously off camera, but the big thing that I took away from that video is that you lined up your balls to strike, not your balls, but the radical stuff to strike, and then threw the same shot with balls that were different, and then they didn't strike. So all you were showing is that your balls were stronger or that they hooked more, and you and I know that more hook does not mean better.
No, and that's the thing. What I've always with the pin up layouts. Most of the time when I do pin up layouts, they suck because pin up stuff, it lowers the RG, it raises the differential, it makes the ball reaction more aggressive overall, and so pin up stuff tends to use up too much too early and quit down lane. So you want to talk about deflection? We can talk about deflection, but pin down, pin and ring stuff lets the ball get further, north of like 45 val angle and north. It kind of lets the ball get a little bit further down the lane. It blends things a little bit more. It's not quite so crazy. So that's when I did my Mikey actually replied to. I did a video called Lane Wars or Pin Wars or something like. I can't remember what it was.
I do remember now.
Yeah, where I did I had the whole Star Wars scrolling thing, and so we're out against the diabolical pin up layout or the diabolical pin down layout or something like that. But so yeah, it's one of those things that if they would have instead lined up to strike with the motive balls, all their stuff would have been too early and too smooth. Which hashtag Brunswick. But
yeah.
But again, there's a time because if you think about the Zen Master, like this feels like a Brunswick ball.
Yeah,
I mean it's like hardcore Brunswick ball. So that's the thing is that everybody liked the Zen. I really think that they should have put out like a 3000 grit hybrid instead of this chuggy tanky because a lot of people, I love the Zen. It's gonna be a little bit earlier and smoother. No, it's gonna be a whole lot earlier and smoother.
You're not
gonna be able to throw it in league. It's not gonna be a good idea. You might be able to throw it in league, but it's gonna be a bad idea. But the Zen Master really feels like a Brunswick ball. But Brunswick is really good at creating those early chuggy, tanky rid that even beyond motive, because motive stuff still wants to continue, which is really funny because they talk about the motive venom shock deflected more than the whatever else. Yeah.
Yo, that was creepy how much you sounded like
Dude,
Phil.
I know. I did that I used to do these opinion videos where I would just kind of give my opinion and make like a whole little skit about something. And I did that's radically savage. But yeah, so I talk about that whenever Jonathan, because he's a straighter player. And so whenever he leaves like a flat 10, like everybody else on the planet does with every other bowling ball in existence, like the motive venom shock has more deflection than the whatever else. So
yeah, despite what a lot of people may say, balls like the IQ Tour Solid, the Phase 2, the Zen Master, the Radical whatever, the Motive they all deflect. They all,
Yeah.
if you get far enough left, every single ball deflects.
Yeah, and
or
especially
for you, far enough right.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're matched up bad, everything's gonna look like trash because the idols do that, and that's the thing that I've really keyed in and tried to express to people on the idols. They don't like getting inside a third arrow. None of them. They like straighter angles. They're early, they're smooth, they're round. But as soon as you start trying to add angle, they want to quit. They want to deflect. But they're really, really good outside a third arrow, or unless you have a crap load of hand and get around the ball. But yeah, the Zen Master is a very prism solid type of reaction. That early chuggy, tanky, stable. Because like I said, even something like the Jackal Ghost or whatever, like it's early and it's round and it's smooth, but it still wants to pick up and continue. The Zen Master doesn't want to. It wants to pick up and be early and smooth, and then kind of settle wherever it's at. It doesn't want to like go nuts, be uncontrollable, whatever else, and so. And that's always my worry when our brands put out something like that. When we put out something like a ProMotion or a Zen Master, whatever else, we're used to big length and big boom. And so whenever somebody sees something that's against the norm, it's like, well, that ball sucks. It's like, well, no, it doesn't really suck. It's just different. And people always talk about, oh, you keep making the same, the same ball. I want something that's earlier and smoother. And then you give them earlier and smoother, and it's like, oh, well, that ball sucks. It doesn't hook. It's like, no.
Well, I mean, a perfect example of that is, remember the Alpha Crux?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when that ball was around, it wasn't
Nobody
super
liked it.
popular.
No.
And now you're not finding one for less than $450.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing.
Like anywhere.
The Phase 2 also, because the very first phase, they used that new cover.
It was awful.
It was really, really early and slow and whatever else for a pearl ball, and nobody got it. Nobody liked it. And then they kind of quietly made it R2S Pearl. They kind of just poured the next couple batches were the overseas batches, which were the R2S.
Yeah, the overseas, but
yeah,
they
the
were
overseas
R2S Pearl,
batches. They say that they changed some kind of process or something to keep it from the. I think they changed. Everybody pretty unanimously thinks they changed the cover to R2S Pearl to make it more longer and sharper and kind of more stormy. But the Phase 2 came out. After, nobody liked the Phase 1. I mean, it was one of those.
Terrible.
And so the Phase 2 came out, and then it's earlier and smoother, and it's kind of like, okay, whatever. It was almost discontinued before all of a sudden people are like, oh, this is pretty good at tournaments. And the pros started using it, people started using it at tournaments, and now it's been around for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
so
it came out in 2016.
It was almost gone because it came out, it's like, oh, God, another phase? Nope, don't want anything to do with that. And slowly but surely, it kind of crept back up, and I think that's probably what's going to happen with the Zen Master. Even though I don't like it, unfortunately, I think it's very, very good at what it does, and I think you're going to see a lot of these. When people would be in an idle Phase 2 type situation, now that the idols are gone, I think you're going to see a lot of people using these Zen Masters in, huh? Oh, sweet.
Well, I think the Zen Master is way closer to an idol than it is to a Phase 2.
Yeah.
Way closer.
Mm-hmm.
The Phase 2 just shapes so much more.
It shapes a lot more. The idol is earlier and slower, and it likes those straighter angles. I think the idol is even a bit quicker, or shapes a little bit more. But when you get on something not so tough that you've got to blend out, the Zen Master, and you can't use urethane, this would be like a pitch black type idea almost, but that's going to give you more pop, more hit. Sometimes you get trapped into urethane because it's like, well, I can't use reactive. Urethane doesn't look great, but it's better than reactive. I think the Zen Master, again, is right in that range where it's nothing I'm ever going to throw, but it's going to look great for a lot of people.
Like for me, I would say that I'm like kind of like a middle of the road rev rate, maybe a little bit higher than middle of the road now.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like before, I was absolute bottom of the barrel rev rate. So I could only play straight, back in the day. And like my brain just doesn't, even to this day, like whenever I got to get in and shape it, it doesn't make sense in my brain.
Yeah.
Which is why I like the Zen Master so much.
Uh-huh. All right, I got a donation. Thanks, Glorious 1.0 for the $2 donation. Storm Frantic, best ball of all time. I don't know about best ball of all time, but it was really good. The Storm
Well, I'll
had
tell you
some,
what, this
they had some middle of the
Go ahead.
road stuff like the Punch Out and the Wipeout and the Frantic and the Banshee, and yeah, the Banshee was, it basically looked like a Frantic. It was Pina Colada. That's why I remember it. But it was like orange and yellow. But the Banshee was kind of like the MVP. It was
What
that
color was the Frantic then? 'Cause I thought
the
it
Frantic was orange and green. It looked like a carrot.
Okay, I remember the orange. That's why I was, okay.
Yeah, the Banshee was orange and yellow. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But those 254, 255 RG, like 045 stuff, like the MVP that was somehow really early and chuggy and tanky and hooked a bunch. But yeah, some of that stuff was really good.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, the Frantic R2S Pearl.
Frantic is R2S hybrid.
Oh, it's hybrid. Okay, so then it's 255, 254, 255, 040.
253 044.
Okay, so yeah, it's in that nice little. It's got the high road cover on it. It's got
Orange lime.
Huh?
Orange lime scent.
Yeah. Uh huh.
I would have loved it.
October
Yeah.
2011. You know, the Frantic might not be the best ball of all time, but it was involved in one of the greatest bowling moments
Yeah.
of all
Who
time.
do you think you are? I am.
I
And
mean,
if you go back and
that
watch
was
that,
it's one of the greatest shots of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
every time I watch that, it chills.
because it was perfect. I mean, it was
Oh,
perfect. He needed the shot, and he threw it so far beyond perfect, it didn't even make any sense. I mean, right off his hand, it
so-
was.
like they should do a 30 for 30 on that, because I
Mhm.
remember people talking about that were sitting in attendance that said that there was no one yelling at Pete Weber. Like there was no, like he was just
Oh yeah.
setting the scene.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that sometimes you talk about demeanors and whatever else. I think somebody like him, he has to get mad or he has to get upset before he really locks in and pays attention. Like, unless he has
Yeah.
something to really lock him in and focus him. So he's just going to pick somebody out and start screaming at him.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like there was people that were in attendance who said that there was no one in the stands heckling him.
Mhm.
Nothing. He just started pointing at random people all throughout
Yeah.
that show.
He had to get himself fired up.
And, I mean,
Because you'd almost like be offended or like upset at first. Like I didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. But no, that's his thing.
Yeah.
that's that Michael Jordan mentality, right? Where he would just instantly like, "What'd you say about me?" And then just
Yeah. It's like, wait, I didn't, what? I didn't, no, I'm sorry. I didn't.
yeah. Yeah, see, like for me, like when I bowl league or tournaments or anything, I try to keep my emotions like right here.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime you go too high or too low, you still got to get back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, like that's why I don't show a whole lot of emotion. And when I do, it's very, very little. And so a lot of people think like, do you even like bowling?
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, I get jacked up on the inside. I just don't want to. Anytime you stray too far away from that, from right here,
Yeah.
you have to get back to it. And I think that's for me, it's hard. Like once I get too excited, I get too, sad or whatever, it's hard to get back to that state of mind.
Yeah, and that's the thing, which I've talked about this a bunch, but the way that the collegiate game is going, I don't know how many times I see those guys get jacked up and throwing high fives and whatever else after like 2 or 3 in a
frame
row,
one.
and then the next guy throws it straight out the window because they're all too hyped and jacked up, and it's like, well, act like you've been there before. Number one, that's the other thing is like if you get too wound up or too pumped up or whatever, it's like, okay, go ahead and paddle your canoe out of here, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, anytime I get too jacked up, that next shot's going 20 miles an hour,
Mhm.
30 miles. I mean, it full send.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me here recently too. Is I'm kind of in that in between place where before it was just kind of like, okay, stay slow, hit the pocket somewhere. I don't even care, just make it sparable. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to be able to execute shots, and so now I'm trying to execute shots all the time, and I'm in that weird kind of wobbly state, and so I'll throw like 3 or 4 in a row that are really good, and I'll get excited, and I'll just run up there and it'll go somewhere. I'm like, dude, settle down and just throw a good shot. Just, it's not that hard. So,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is hard to repeat, especially especially when you get too excited, which is
Mhm.
why I always try to be like,
yeah.
So what do you think is like the next ball that I need to drill? Because I have so much already.
Oh, that's a great question. Let me go to the website. All balls.
All balls.
All balls.
Oh, the Omega Crux is still on the
The
website.
Omega
That's
Crux is still in
discontinued.
production?
No.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, it's
I'm
definitely not.
pretty sure. Well, they still got the Electrify Hybrid on there. That's been discontinued. Well, this is going to be
There's
difficult.
quite a few.
They.
It seems to glitch when they update it for other stuff.
Yeah. So the Insight is a very, very odd one because it's kind of RST X1-ish, and it's really slow and chuggy when you first get it, but then as it gets shine on it, it kind of picks up and reminds me a whole lot more of a Rubicon. Have you drilled a Rubicon yet?
I have not.
The Rubicon might be the one because it's got E-Trax solid on it, and it's E-Trax S20, even though now it says E-Trax solid. So they got progressively. So the Idle Pearl and the Halo Pearl had E-Trax 18 Pearl on them, and then the Idle Pro had E-Trax E19 solid, or the S19, E-Trax S19, so it's solid. And then the Nuke Cell had E-Trax P20 on it, and they kept getting stronger and stronger. So the Nuke Cell is a whole bunch stronger than the Halo Pearl. And the Halo Pearl was E-Trax 18, Nuke Cell was E-Trax 20. And so when the Rubicon came out, it had E-Trax S20 on there. So it's the solid for 2020. Now it's just E-Trax solid. So I'm not entirely sure what goes on there, but it's basically R2S solid but stronger is the kind of idea. And it's got kind of that mild ASIM core. So we're going to be looking something along the lines of like the... it's going to have more length and punch than something like a Sherlock, but it's going to kind of roll. So like a Reality, but longer and stronger.
So I remember when that ball came out, it was all over the PBA league.
Yeah,
I mean, every single member was throwing the Rubicon.
Yeah, and so it's as stuff continues to come out, it's kind of going by the wayside. The Axiom is another interesting one, but it's going to be in Phase 2, Zen Master, whatever else. But that NEX Solid is...
Isn't it stronger, though?
It's different because it still gets that same level of traction, so it's got like Zen Master traction, but it's a whole lot flippier. I don't know how they really accomplished that, but NEX Solid is different. It still gets as much chug and as much roll and as much hook, but it booms a lot.
All right, so Rubicon or Honey Badger Intensity?
Ooh, yeah, Angel perked right up.
Yeah.
Do you like higher to medium RG stuff? Because it's kind of... It's got similar numbers to the Rubicon as far as the differential and the intermediate differential, but it's got a lot higher RG. Angel loves her intensity. She shot her first 299 game last week.
I saw that. Hell yeah.
So yeah, and she's averaging. She dropped her average all the way down to like 237. She's gone 745, 699, 660 something. The first 3 weeks of this league.
And she's been throwing the intensity?
And she's been, the intensity, she thrown like the Emerald the last game of the set last night. But yeah, it's been the intensity.
It got weird.
So I drilled a lot of the Storm stuff, some Rotogrip stuff, some global stuff. And so far, I've liked the global stuff the most.
The global
which is
stuff,
why I was just like, leaning towards that intensity.
Yeah.
So here, and I'm not sure if I should be saying this or not, but this is my personal opinion. It's nothing that's been validated or anything like that. But so Storm is like the big company, and so they have to put out stuff that's safe or stuff that's going to appeal to a wide range, the widest range of people, because it's a very popular brand, and there's a lot of people that just throw Storm. Well, I don't, I just throw Storm. I don't throw Roto or 900. It's like, well, it's kind of all the same stuff, but They do different variations. Storm stuff tends to be the more versatile, cleaner, whatever else. The Roto Grip stuff is just kind of flat out aggressive. It's bold, it's aggressive, whatever else. The 900 stuff is kind of like, it's almost more like a more motive brand where they target specific reactions. And they're like, I'm going to do this. But I think that they are bringing back, they're either using a bunch of stuff that they've used overseas before, or they're bringing back, you're kind of quietly bringing back stuff that used to be in the Storm and Rotogrip lines, and they're just kind of putting it back out. Like if you look at the Ordnance C4, it's basically a Daredevil. Because it's like 248, 040, or 041. And it's basically like a
249, 042.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 248, 041.
Yeah, so it's basically like a sanded Daredevil. Or like the Reality is basically a Sherlock. There's a lot of these global balls that, because they're kind of a smaller brand, I guess, they can say, oh yeah, let's try this, or let's go for this, or hey, let's kind of bring this idea back, or let's kind of do this again, because I really think that the Reality cover is the same cover as the Sherlock. I think it's the same cover.
I'm convinced, and no one can like change my mind about this, that the Reality and the Zen would have both been under the Storm umbrella had they not bought the global brand. You know what I mean? Like they just, like the Zen and the Reality especially, like they scream Storm.
Yeah.
Like the Reality just seems like that typical big asymmetric solid Storm ball, and then the Zen booms like nothing else.
Yeah, the Zen is like a stronger Marvel Pearl, and the Reality is like the Sherlock Reborn. So I think that again, global can kind of, it's like, okay, well let's give this a shot. If it doesn't work, whatever. Or it's like, well, this kind of idea was really popular several years ago. Let's just bring it back. And so that's why I think so many of their balls are heavy hitters. That they're putting out stuff that either used to be popular, or they're taking a chance on stuff. And that's what Schlemmer used to do, I think, quite a bit. Was like, hey, this is crazy. Let's go ahead and do it anyway. And so I think that's where we got a bunch of when rotos started getting really popular. You know, the Haywire, the Hypercell Skid.
Haywire.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. He's like, screw it, let's just go for it. And so that's when we started getting a lot of these big, bold reactions out of Rotogrip. And I think that's why they got so popular, because it's just like everything was just hitting it right out of the park. And so Global kind of fits in between the Storm and Rotogrip idea.
So so I posted a video a couple weeks ago. I think it was when I did the Reality review, or one of the reviews, where I told people to guess my first 300 ball ever, and it was a 900 global ball. It was the Breakout.
Oh, the Breakout, yeah.
And so that was the S70 cover.
I think that's the Matty.
And then it was
S70. That's what's on the Intensity.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nope. Now you.
Hold on. Did we just figure something out here?
S70 is the Intensity.
Honey Badger Intensity.
S70 solid.
Oh boy. Oh man. Hold on.
So that
And then that's funny. We did not play. We did not plan this.
Yeah, I know.
And then the Breakout core is the break asymmetric. It has an RG of 248 and a differential of 058.
Okay, so
which is not even close.
Yeah, it's a whole lot stronger core.
But the cover's what matters.
Cover that's in the R2S range, so that's going to be in the Rubicon strength. That's going to be IQ Tour solid strength. That's going to be something like that. S70 is kind of in that R2S E-Track solid range. So yeah, the Intensity, you might have to give the Intensity a look, because it's going to go a little bit further down the lane. And
they finish at the same grid too, 4,000 finish.
Yeah. So that might have to be the next one. Now, again, if you like the Breakout, that's gonna look at the Rubicon. Look at the Rubicon numbers, because those cover strengths are right in the same.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get both here. Just charge my card.
Because the Rubicon is 249. It's 249 052 011, I think.
011, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I'll get
Yeah.
comments on my channel, people saying, "Oh, review this ball, review that ball," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I mean, if I can get them,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
If I
Like,
get that, do you
like
want to send them
before,
to me?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but whatever. So I had a lot of people ask me to review some of the swag balls,
Yeah.
right?
Uh.
And so I was like, okay, let me reach out,
Mhm.
right? So I reached out to one of the staffers. They gave me one of their, like, I guess, district sales manager or whatever,
Yeah.
their email. So I sent an email, ghosted,
Yeah.
completely ghosted.
Mhm.
And so I hit them back like a week later. I said, hey, thanks for trying. I got ghosted or whatever. Then they gave me an email to someone else, ghosted again. So I got ghosted twice by swag. So
That's one of those things where somebody was trying to get back before I signed with Storm. Somebody was trying to get me on with like Lord Field, which is part of that California bowling swag, whatever else. Their contracts are really weird. Like, you're required to buy a minimum amount of bowling balls. You're required to gain a minimum amount of staffers every single year, and their stuff's like 125 or 130 bucks a ball.
And you get nothing for free.
Yeah, and you're locked in to buying like at least 8 to 10 bowling balls at that price per year, and it's like, so I'm gonna pay you $1,500 or whatever to
be on staff.
But yeah. Anyway, but
Well, hey,
so
I really liked what you said. I think it was in the last breakdown pair. You said that you get free money. You just got to go to work.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, you get free money at your job too. You just got to go show up and work for it. So
yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, you get these balls for free. I'm like, do you understand how hard it is?
You do understand how
much
free
work goes in? Yeah, there's so much work that goes into making these videos. People think it's just I snap my fingers and it's done.
Oh yeah.
And I've been looking for encoders this entire time to purchase.
Yeah, no, like the amount of video equipment, computers, whatever else, and then just the amount of time. Like, we haven't gone golfing in 3 years, like, because every single weekend is I've got to get home and I've got to start making videos as fast as I can, because it's not like it. Again, there's like some of my stuff. There's some like concepts and stuff that goes into it, and sometimes it's hard just getting the thumbnail right. Like, like you try, even if you try to make it as simple as possible, and that's why I tried to make a bunch of stuff just more streamlined and whatever else. But it's like, well, then that gets boring, and so I like to kind of
my thumbnails are trash. I mean, there's no other way to say that.
But I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, holy crap! Do you want to spend like 2 or 3 hours on a thumbnail? And I've done that before, where I've just that picture, background picture, it's too busy, or it's too quiet, or it looks stupid, or whatever else, and this arrangement doesn't look good, and whatever else, and so you're spending 2 to 3 hours just on the thumbnail, just for the picture for the video to show up on YouTube, and then, I've got to find the right for the intro, I've got to find the right theme, and I got to find the right music, and then everything has to kind of sync up, and whatever else, and so by the time you're done with this, you spent God knows how much on the ball to begin with. And then even if you get comped them, it's still like, okay, well, I'm still drilling and grips, and, even though I've got a press out of my garage now, but that was not cheap. So you got that, and then you have to go bowl, and so it takes a bunch of time out, and then you have to come back and edit, and then everything. It's one of those things where nothing really takes that long, but as soon as you add it all up, it's super expensive and it's super time consuming, and you just find yourself doing that all the time. So I mean, with you, especially with drilling all these new balls here recently, it's just your life has to be, okay, I'm going to go to work, and then I'm going to do YouTube stuff, and that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people don't realize is, like, I have a full-time job also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the other thing.
And my full-time job, I'm a table game supervisor for a casino here in Vegas, and I work Saturday. I'm on vacation today, which is why I'm here, but I work Saturday through Wednesday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. So so I do everything on Friday.
Yeah.
Friday's my day off. I usually film on Friday morning, edit all day on Friday. And yeah, like, right now I have 2 videos already scheduled on YouTube, and then I have 2 more that need to be edited, and I got 5 more balls that still need to be drilled.
Yeah.
That I got sent. I don't really want to talk about details about that, but I got 5 balls that got sent to me that are all from the Brunswick umbrella that we're going to be reviewing. In the next couple of weeks, and then I still want to do some comparisons. I don't want to just all do reviews. I enjoy doing the comparisons.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that's what people want to see anyways, the comparisons. The reviews are all fine and good, but I've gotten a lot more popularity. If it's just the review, it's like, okay, well, that's all fine and good, but how does it compare to this, or where's it going to fit, or how's it going to whatever? And so, got to get the reviews done, and then I have to get my rated episodes up, and then once I get the rated episodes up, I got to get started on the comparisons and whatever else. But the reviews take so long, and then the rated reviews, I've got to kind of write up something else for that and put those all together. Once I get that done, the comparisons are easy, but it's getting all that stuff done to begin with. And the other thing too for me is I travel for work, and so I've got 4 days out of the week that are just straight out blocked off. I can do some little stuff in the hotel room at night, but most of it, if it doesn't get done Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it's just not getting done. So. All right. So either one of those two, like the intensity or the Rubicon, is going to put you back in that breakdown. Because the Rubicon, I think the cover's a little bit stronger than the Honey Badger intensity, but it's got that 249, 052, 011. So the Rubicon might have to be that's got to get on the radar anyway.
Yeah.
But no, there's nothing.
Man,
The Phase 3...
There's just so much.
Yeah, the Phase 3 is basically a ripcord velocity. Very, very similar.
So bleh.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those balls that it's really good if you have the volume for it, but as soon as you start getting on some friction, it burns up. And so that's a really love-hate ball for me.
I think I want to say something here. So when I say blah about the ripcord velocity, me leaving Motive, despite what a lot of people think, had zero to do with the bowling balls.
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously I don't want to get into any of those details because it's like I've told a couple people, everyone that needs to know why I left, already knows.
Yeah, it's
and I talked to you a little bit about it before. But, the ripcord velocity was a pretty good ball, but it's probably not going to be in my bag,
It's the other thing. I'm sitting here staring at my Reality sitting on the shelf that I want to take everywhere, but it's too strong. It's just too strong. It's just flat up, straight up too strong for me. And I keep taking it.
I want to throw my Reality on everything, and I can throw it on nothing.
Yeah, I know.
I'm bowling a regional in November on the Billy Hardwick pattern. Does that sound right?
Yeah. There's Billy Hardwick pattern. I think you shared that too. Yeah, I think it is the Hardwick pattern.
And I think that's going to be the next time I'm going to be able to really throw the Reality, because it's like 44 feet or something. Actually, I should have it here in my... Hey, I just got a notification that you went live on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
An hour and a half.
Thanks, YouTube.
This is why Discord is important.
Yeah.
Because Discord sent it out right away.
YouTube is terrible.
Yeah, so Hardwick is 44 feet and 29.45 mils. So that might be the next time I really can throw the Reality.
Oh, what's that? Yeah, so House Hack Bowling. I have over 50 videos on my channel. I've only gotten 5 free balls, so just imagine the math, not including the prices for cameras, stabilizers, lights, and I don't even have a lot of that stuff. Like I've got a pretty nice camera. I got a pretty nice camcorder. And then last time we bought a computer, we'd want to make sure it would handle the editing stuff. And then I've got my laptop, which I'd have that I'd have kind of a laptop anyway, but we got a gaming laptop so that I could stream with. And then we have my laptop to where I can take on the road and do whatever else with. I got a Chromebook down here that I'm watching stuff on that I almost screwed something up with. Whoops. And then, you know,
House Hack Bowling, 466 subscribers, about to be 467.
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, he does. He actually designed our breakdown pair
The logo.
logo or whatever. And so yeah, he's in the
He's in our
Discord. Yeah, he's in the Discord group, and you know
His
he
thumbnails are nice.
he's big on top of it with.
He was a rapper, or well, he is, but
Yeah. So he does some other stuff to begin with. So we already had kind of ideas how to do stuff, and their marketing with their apparel and they've got little stickers that somebody did like the caricatures of them or whatever. Those are really cool. And so
That's really cool.
yeah, they're big on the promotional side of things, and you know the videos are good too. But that's the thing is that you've got to hump it so much. It's just so ridiculous how, and like everybody's making videos now too. Like when I started, it was me and Tamer, and that was about it. If you go back and look at video, and it doesn't sound like that long ago, but 5 or 6 years ago, bowling videos were bad. And 5 or 6 years, my bowling videos were bad, and I don't have any idea how I gained subscribers or gained people or whatever. I think it was just the videos are decent enough, and then you just answer everybody's questions. You just try to be as honest as possible, whatever else, and that's how you've gotten so big, despite starting here recently.
Very recently, yeah. I just made a year on like posting regularly.
Yeah, and that's nuts. I mean, it took me 3 years probably to get 5,000 subs. So
I'm not there yet, so
yeah, but
it could be 2 more
still,
years.
I mean, I thought it was big time when I hit 1,000. But there wasn't really the bowling stuff around. You look at the other ones; they're not good. Like it was just everybody hooking the entire lane set to rock music and whatever else. And
Well,
now there's
I
so
just
many
had this
people doing it.
conversation- That what? I'm sorry.
No, I was just say there's so many people doing it now that it's just tough to get any kind of traction. But you've done pretty good. So
I just had this conversation with Jonathan Hawes last night about this
Yeah.
whole YouTube thing because he was trying to find a way to get more subscribers, and he
Mhm.
was talking about potentially doing like a bowling ball giveaway, right?
yeah,
But what I told him was, you want people to subscribe to your channel because they're
Yeah.
like in love with your channel. You want
Mhm.
them. Like, I don't want you to watch one of my videos for 5 minutes because you want to win a bowling ball.
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
you to come to my channel and watch every single video. You know what I mean? So I was watching this other YouTuber. It has nothing to do with bowling. Her name is Catherine Manning.
Mhm.
She does like a lot of like YouTube how-to stuff or whatever.
yeah,
And she said that for you to make it on YouTube, you have to have one of 3 things, and there's no way around it. You either
Yeah.
have to be the first, you have to be the best, or you have to be different. And like for bowling, there's no way you're going to be the first. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you just got to find a way to be different or be the best. And that's what I
Yeah.
told Jonathan. Like everyone shows a 2-minute strike compilation set to rock music.
hmm
You know what I mean?
dude, that is exactly what I have. In kind of behind the scenes conversations with Storm and talking about growing social media and whatever else. That's exactly what I said because that's the only thing. Because the person that's out there first is going to get the most views, whether it's quality, whatever else. And if you're not the first, you definitely have to be the best because there's all kinds of people putting stuff out there. So if you're not the best, it doesn't really matter. But then, yeah, and the other thing is you have to post frequently. But yeah, the other thing is, being different is probably step 4. Or there's probably those 3 things are definitely important, but you definitely got to post a bunch of stuff too because you'll fall out of grace with the YouTube algorithms and whatever else.
Yes.
The more you post,
Consistency.
the more you post, the more consistently you post, the more that they're going to pick up on and share stuff, and people get used to that kind of consistency,
Yeah.
and so they start looking for your stuff. But yeah, that's
well,
definitely
when you finally joined me in with your reviews itself, people didn't even know you had a female. Like, they
Yeah.
weren't catching both,
Yeah.
because you separated us for a long time.
But and that's the other thing is like what you were talking about is I've only done I don't think I've ever done a giveaway on YouTube ever, and I've tried again to resist it just because if people are there for free stuff, and I see other channels that get really popular, they get a lot of subs really quick, they get a bunch of traction because they're giving stuff away, and it's like, well, but if people are just there for the giveaways, if you don't have any substance there, unless you're giving something away, they're not going to watch. And that's not really the. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to give some stuff away, but it's like, holy crap, it's already so expensive and so time consuming. As soon as you start giving something away, it's like, my gosh. And, thankfully, the Cool Wick thing, we have kind of a giveaway budget. So,
Yeah, me too,
speaking of which, I've got the DBG jersey on.
Dragon
Oh,
Ball
yeah.
Z for those that don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and you've
I
got
actually
the
had to
the
look
teal
up-
honeycomb. I wore that to league last night.
Yeah.
Motive
I
Lou
like this
10.
honeycomb.
Yeah, Motive Lou 10 or Rosedoll 10, I guess. So Motive Lou 10 or Rosedoll 10 to get you 10% off on Cool Wick. Shameless advertising.
Yeah. 10% off on everything.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, period. And they got a bunch of different stuff on there. And they just put those new pullovers that they got out, those kind of white and gray ones or
Yes.
whatever. Those look really sharp.
Yeah. I haven't. I've intentionally not ordered anything new, well, except for this one. This was just one of the quick ship jerseys. Just
Yeah,
'cause I
yeah.
wanted something
Uh-huh,
else
yeah.
besides the motive
That's a
ones. But
really
I've
cool one.
intentionally not ordered anything because I want to see what happens first.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want to do is order 5 jerseys and then something
Yeah.
might happen where I sign with a company and then I got to order another 5 jerseys.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like I recently just got hooked up with with Creating the Difference with one of their like actual staff, not like
Uh-huh.
subscriber thing,
Yeah.
and that so when I order a jersey, I got to put their logo on there. I got to put the Turbo logo on there.
Mhm.
I'm actually on staff with Storm Rotogrid Bowling Balls for Sale on Facebook.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
with
Nick Brown.
With Nick Brown.
Yep.
So I'm waiting to order
Yeah, where's...
jerseys until I figure out what's all going to happen. There we go.
Yep.
Hey, shout out to Nick Brown.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, Nick's one of those
Until
dudes
then-
that just, yeah.
I got nothing. Just
Yeah.
a little Cool Wick
Hey.
logo right there.
Those are sharp, though, and those are really cheap, too. So,
Yes.
That's what-
yes.
I mean-
And they ship immediately.
yeah, yeah. You can tell they've got, again, the quick ships. I've got a video that I've been kind of letting sit that I need to get up about the quick ships. But, yeah, they're sharp. They're already done. They tell you how many they have in stock in every single size. And if you need something, if you want to just get some really quick and easy team jerseys or something for a tournament and you want them quick, they ship the next business day, tell you how many they got in stock. So it's a whole lot cheaper, a whole lot quicker, because the custom stuff, they have to build it and then they have to send you a bunch of, which they do with the custom stuff, they do send you a bunch of correspondence and they say, okay, well, is this right, or what do you want to change, or how many of this? So they're in pretty constant communication with you. I've been pretty impressed with that so far, because it's not just, is this fine, whatever else, or like they check with you, and if you need something fixed or adjust, it's like, whatever, no problem. They'll remock it up, send you something back, and it's still a pretty quick process, but the custom, just due to the nature of it, they've got to build it.
Yeah.
And even especially if you don't already have some kind of design, like, Shutterstock, if you don't have a picture, just send them and say, hey, make this. Then
They have to build it from scratch.
yeah, they have to build it from scratch, and then all the whatever else has to go into it. The quick ships, they have them ready to go, so they just send them right out to you.
Yeah, Jim at Cool Wick has
Mhm.
been like amazing. I mean, I was with
Yeah.
another jersey company, which we won't talk about, but I was with another jersey company, and signing with Cool Wick was a literal breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds super cliche to say, but
Well,
I mean, yeah, like I actually feel valued as a content, like to be affiliated with a company that actually puts like importance on social media. Because I
Mhm.
mean, that's all YouTube is just another social media.
yeah, it
platform.
is. but yeah, Jim, I've talked to him a bunch of times, and he's just the coolest, most down to earth guy. That he's just, I mean, whether you're Belmo or whether you're us, I mean, it's just like, okay, well, obviously Belmo's a whole lot more important to everybody that he's that he's sponsored with, but they kind of they treat you like you're important too, and so that's really cool to. So Jim's been great, and Cliff with Bowler's Mart's been pretty great too, because he's
Oh, that's been phenomenal.
yeah, he's been great. I've been sending stuff back and forth here. I've seen he's getting a bunch of your reviews up on the site and whatever else.
Yours
and
too.
Yeah,
I actually just got an email.
Yeah.
See if I still got it on here.
Uh
I'm gonna
huh.
put it up on the screen.
Because yeah, he's been talking to me a whole lot here lately about getting some stuff up there and getting some video transcripts and whatever else, and starting to put our stuff in their emails that they send out. So yeah, those have been a couple of the best, the best affiliations or whatever that I've had so far. So
Let me see if I have any.
I'm about to look like a NASCAR driver for here for too long with because now I got to get
Right.
the next jerseys I get. I got to put the Bowlers. I've got all my other stuff on there, but now I gotta find room for the Bowlers Mart logo.
I think it's funny that
About to,
You can put
I
two
already
on the
deleted all
bottom,
the
no
emails, but
yeah,
I think it's really funny how you and I both ended up on Cool Week staff. Storm Roto Grip,
yeah,
bowling ball for sale, Turbo.
yeah. Bowlers Mart. Yeah, so
Yeah. Well, the Bowler's Mart thing is really, like, you and I spoke about this off camera, but I think the Bowler's
Yeah.
Mart thing is the most important thing, because now we can track what our sales actually are, because I get comments all the time. Oh, did I just freeze?
yeah. I think I can still hear you just fine, but
Yeah.
Is there
Looks like I'm flicking off the camera.
yeah, I know that's yep. Yeah, that's a good. It's a cool shot though. So.
Can they?
Yeah. If you want to reset your connection, let me. Oh, there we go. All right, there it is.
Oh,
Yeah, let me see. I think it. Yeah, if I can. There we go. You're back. We're good.
there we go.
Yeah.
glitch?
Yeah. All right. There we go.
Yeah. No, we're
Yeah.
good.
So like the big thing is like with the Bowler's Mart thing is you can track what your sales actually are,
Mhm.
because I used to get messages and comments all the time saying, hey, I bought this Motive so and so because
Uh-huh.
of you, and there's no way to really quantify that. Like there's
Exactly.
no way for me to, okay, so and so said that he bought a Primal Rage off because of
Yeah.
Let me write that down. Now with this affiliate deal that we got going on, I can be like, hey, look, I can go online.
You can give them numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just numbers from the one source too. So because not everybody that buys something because of you is going to be buying it from Bowler's Mart.
Correct.
So you can
correct.
at
'Cause there's
least
people
give
who
them
have their own,
something.
yeah.
Because I used to be in
So,
a pro
like-
shop.
Like right here, I can click. Like I can contact, let's say, Storm, for example,
Mhm.
or whoever. And then let me look here. One of my.
Yeah, they've got it itemized
my
too,
report.
so you can even see what you sold. Not just you made a sale. You can see
individual
exactly what
item.
you sold. So, and for everybody out there, that's a really big deal for us, because on the YouTube side of things, it's like, okay, so last year I got just over 2 million views, and you think, okay, well, even conservatively, say that only 1% of the people that watch my videos bought a ball because of it. So whatever 1% of 2 million is,
Let's look that up here.
20,000, 2,000, I don't know.
2 million minus 1% is 20,000.
Yeah, so if only 1%, one out of every 100
Even
people,
half a percent.
yeah, 0.5%, exactly, 0.5%'s 10,000. So you're thinking, okay, well, but because you don't have any specific concrete numbers, and there's all kinds of advertising algorithms and whatever else and stuff that you can look up and say advertising generally does this, and whatever else. But if you don't have any
I agree.
actual numbers, then they can say, well, we don't really, it's kind of arbitrary. We don't really know what kind of, if people view it more as entertainment or what's actually driving sales or whatever else. But for us, that we spend a bunch of money, we spend a bunch of time doing this, and yeah, nobody's in the, number one, nobody's in the bowling industry to get rich or do any kind of anything.
correct.
We're all here because we like it. But to keep something like this afloat, I'm sure that you've already gone through several different, you start making videos, all of a sudden you get popular, then you got several thousand people watching, then you got,
Hashtag bowling famous.
yeah, production's got to go up, you got to make better videos, you have to put more time into them, you have to do more videos, then people kind of expect you to review everything. You get a bunch of requests, you get a bunch of questions, you get whatever else. Uh, the time requirement just shoots through the roof. And so to keep something, once you get this busy or you get this many people going, to keep something like this afloat and to continue to do it, like I said, we were supposed to go down and bowl some tournaments this weekend, but I just couldn't. I mean, I had to get some stuff done.
I was stressing anyways from other stuff, so don't.
But
And one thing I tell people is that even if you already shop at your your local bowler's mart, still go through one of our links. I mean, it helps us out a ton.
Yeah, a bunch. And that's,
because all right, for example, a couple days ago, right, I'm looking at my analytics here or my sales report. I sold 3 RST X2s in the last 4 days.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when but like, let's say I was trying to get on staff with Storm, right? And then Lee Up's like, well, how can you prove what you're actually selling? I'm like, okay, well, hold on. Let me just show you. I've literally, in the last 3 or 4 days, I've sold RST X2s. I'm looking at here, a Motive Top Thrill, Jackal Flash, Motive Vault Double Roller, Dexter the 9 shoe, a replacement sole, like polish. Like there's so many, like anything that you can imagine. Like going through these links helps us so much.
Yeah, it's you're supporting, because I mean it's a free thing, and so you got to buy bowling stuff anyway. I have some people that will do like the super chat thing. They'll leave some money, and then we got our Patreon things, and they support us through us. And then there's a little bit of YouTube revenue, but that's one of those things that the time involvement, the revenue goes up like this, and your time just keeps doing this, and so it very diminishing returns on the YouTube revenue. But that's the best way to support us is use our codes for Cool Wick stuff if you want that stuff. You got to buy bowling stuff anyway, so if you do it through one of our links, that helps us keep making videos for you to watch. That saves you money. That helps out, because that's the other thing, is that if you don't know what you're buying, then I mean sometimes you buy some, and sometimes even if you think you know what you're buying, it still sucks. But it helps out a bunch.
And we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is how expensive it is for the quality of your videos to go up. Like, I used to film on a Canon DSLR, like a 70D, which shot in 1080p. I paid $700 for that camera.
Yeah, mine was $850. So
and so then I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to do this in 4K. So let me go find a 4K camera. Well, if you want to buy a DSLR camera that shoots in 4K, that's $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, minimum.
Yeah.
That has a full sensor. So then, I bought. So this is my iPhone, right, that I use on a daily basis. I bought a second iPhone that I use to do my live streams, because if you get I don't know if you know this or not, but if you're doing a live stream on your phone and you get a phone call,
it shuts it right off. She's got to turn off her notifications on this. So there's a bunch of different stuff we have to do to.
I actually bought a second iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is $1,000.
Yeah.
Just to shoot in 4K. And those Rode mics that we wear, you have the one with the 2 microphones. That's $300.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I had to buy a new computer because I only had 16 gigs of RAM. Yeah. And you know how long it takes to render 4K 60 footage?
Yes.
on 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
So I bought this computer that has 128 gigs of RAM. So I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yep. So
so doing something like going through these Bowler's Mart links, it helps us so much because I've been monetized since November. So not that long, and I have $0 saved from any of the money that everything that I've gotten from
Oh yeah.
through Bowler's Mart, through Patreon, through the AdSense, all of it has gone just right back into the channel
Yeah,
to try to
good.
make the content better.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know if the better quality of the video correlates to more subscribers, but the reality is that a year ago I had like 300 subscribers.
Yeah. And so
You know, and now I'm at 48 and change.
yeah, there's definitely a good balance to it, because if you watch like Darren Tang's videos, they're really sharp, they're really visually appealing. He's got a great
They're
personality. So it's a combination of all the above. Because if everything's like shiny and looks great, but you're a typical staffer guy that just like, oh yeah, this ball's great and whatever and all that stuff, you're not going to go very far. You're going to get people to click on it. It's going to be clickbait. Get people to click on it, but not ultimately watch anything. So you still have to retain what you do. You just have to make what you do better, because that's what got people there in the first place. And that's kind of, I've been all over the place trying different things and whatever else, but you just have to stick with what you do.
I think the big thing for me was getting away from that typical staffer review where it's just like the rock music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Like once I started talking to the camera and getting in front of the camera,
Mm-hmm.
people come to you, people message me all the time and they feel like they've known me for years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that's because they for me, every Thursday, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific, there's a new video.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. And I have not missed a single release in over a year now. So
Yeah.
people they expect it. It's like watching a TV show.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Uh-huh.
And actually, the video that comes out tomorrow for me is the Zen Master. Hold on. Tomorrow's the 29th. Yeah, 900 Global Zen Master versus Storm Phase 2 comparison. And that's a brand new format that I've never done before. Normally I stand in front of the camera for like 2 minutes and talk.
Yeah.
I kind of cut all that out, and now I'm showing more shots because everyone's like, oh, you're only showing 12 shots. So now, spoiler alert or whatever, but I'm up to like 16 shots in the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's funny because people also say, your videos are too long. I'm like, well, YouTube says that they have to be 10 minutes long so that I can put the ads wherever I want.
Yeah.
So they're going to be at least 10 minutes long every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to do the shorter ones because if you go into your analytics and look, most of my average for reviews, the average length watched is like 3.5 minutes. So it's like if you go into your average views watched, it takes longer to edit, it takes longer to put everything together. And it's like, well, if people are only watching my videos for 3.5 minutes, why am I making 8-minute long videos,
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, my videos are nothing but, I'm talking over shot after shot after shot, and it's like after you've seen the ball roll down the lanes like 15 times, you kind of get the idea. You don't need the extra 20 or 30 shots, but
for me, like when I watch your videos, right, it's kind of like the same thing. Like if I watch my own or if I watch Darren's or anyone's, if I stop watching 3 minutes in, I didn't get all the information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I watch your videos, I'm learning. Like for me, it's almost more important what you're saying than showing like the shots. It doesn't especially because you're lefty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your game and my game are night and day. All I care about is what's in here. Like what's in your head that you're talking about. To me, that's the most important thing. I could care less what the ball looks like. You know what I mean? Like the Zen Master is a perfect example. You don't love the Zen, but I love the Zen. The Zen Master. But
yeah.
So to me, that.
But you explain why.
Yeah, you still gotta explain the ball reaction. That's the other thing too, is that people say, oh, well, I want to see misses, or I want to see this, or I want to see that. And it's like, well, depending on what you're bowling on, it could be completely different. Because if you're bowling on something that's a little bit more cliffed, you might have more miss room inside and less miss room outside than I do, or it might be whatever else. So everything that people think that they can see off of videos is not really, it's like, oh, that ball really gets back if you miss outside. well, maybe not, what you're bowling on.
I need to wrap up, it's almost 2 hours now.
Yeah. But
Yeah, and then like I tell people all the time, like anyone can not strike, anyone
yeah,
can
yeah.
miss.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? But
Well, yeah, that's the
I
other
don't
thing
know.
too is like I want to show some misses in there, but they don't nothing on a there's very few things on a video that tell you what you think it's telling you.
Yes.
You can't judge misses you can't even really judge, you can just judge the overall ball motion and how they compare. The biggest thing is comparisons, because if I show every single ball and somebody can buy several, they watch your videos and they buy several balls, and it's like, well, normally the ball is a little bit earlier and smoother for me than it is for them, or it goes longer and it's flippier for me than it is for them, then you can kind of develop a comparison or a consistency from knowing, oh, okay, so if I get the reality, it's going to be longer and stronger for me than it is for him, and it compares to this ball like this. So that's the best thing that you can get really the only thing that you can get is a basis for comparison off of YouTube videos.
I agree.
So,
and then like where you bowl matters too, because if I'm shooting a review at Samstown, for example, I can miss, basically, as long as I don't gutter, I can miss as far right as I need to or want to, and the ball's going to recover. Right?
Yeah.
But if recently I've been shooting reviews at Suncoast because they have a little bit higher volume. There's a little bit of an out of bounds there. If I miss right, the ball will not recover.
Yeah.
So it matters where you're bowling on too. So like you said, the importance of the comparisons, because if I miss 10 right with an X2 and it strikes, but I missed 10 right with a Zen and I super wash out. That's the importance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, all right. Well,
One
I
of the
think
questions here says.
Oh yeah.
One of the questions here says, if I can't find a new Hyro Nano, is the Max a good replacement?
Yeah, the Max is going to be the best thing that you can get because it's NEX, which is an evolution of Nano. Now the NEX is sharper than NRG. They get about the same amount of traction. I think the NEX is a little bit stronger than Nano, but it's definitely quicker than Nano. So if we get like the really cool thing is if we get like an NEX IQ, that's going to be really fun to have against like I think an NEX IQ would be ridiculous. It's like if you put the Axiom cover on that core, that's going to be dumb. But yeah, the High Road Max is definitely the closest thing to a High Road Nano.
Yeah.
But
so, all right, looks like we're towards the end of this little session here.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We've been going for a couple hours. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and I know we talked a lot less about the X2 and the Zen Master than we talked about everything else. But that's normally how these things go. So the Zen Master and the RST X2 are available as of yesterday because everything's been so popular lately. Production they just can't keep up at the plant. So if you want either one of these, I would say buy them. You've got reviews up. I've got reviews up. We both have links to BowlerSmart. We both have codes for Cool Wick. Once again, MotiveLu 10 or Rosedoll 10, and that's the number 10, not the letters TEN.
Yes, not TEN.
Yeah.
10.
And it'll update it as soon as you enter the code on the website. It'll update it right away. So if the code is valid or accurate, it'll go on ahead and update your price right there. If it's inaccurate, then nothing will happen. So,
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the BowlerSmart thing for either of us, you've got links on your videos. I've got links on my videos. Following those, using those helps us out a bunch. So for now, you've got the Zen Master versus the Phase 2 comparison coming out tomorrow. I'm going to have one of those fairly soon at some point. I did the Zen Master versus the Axiom. I think a lot of people want to see it versus the Idol, so I think that's probably the next one that I'm going to do. And then yeah, I've got my rated videos coming out, and then the X2 probably versus some of the older stuff. I'm going to start doing a series that's called replacing something or other, because there's a bunch of discontinued stuff now. Like we've got the Astrophysics, IQ Emerald, Idol. We got a bunch of big heavy hitters that they discontinued, and people are like, okay, well, what can I get now that's like those older
Similar,
balls?
yeah.
And so I'm gonna start getting more on those than the comparisons, and I'm sure that you're gonna have a crap load of now that you're drilling all this stuff. Or this compared to this and
Yeah.
that compared, but that's what people want to see are the comparisons, and I think that that's the best. That's the best. Those are better than reviews.
So what did Lou get?
Yes,
that
well, like
discontinued that he has?
I don't want to take up too much time here either, but
No, you're good.
you know, like the Sherlock is a perfect example. Like
Uh-huh.
if you buy a Sherlock on that Storm Rotogrip Bowling Balls for Sale page, it's going to cost you $250.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
When you buy a Reality, it'll cost you $179. You know, that's $70.
yeah.
So is that seven? Like, is the Sherlock $70 better than a Reality?
I don't think so.
I probably not.
No,
You know what I mean?
no. Or something like the Alpha Crux too that everybody's going all nuts over.
$450, $500.
Yeah.
And they're selling like hotcakes.
Uh huh. But
But all right, dude.
All right.
Let's the big thing I want to say before I leave is just thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all the support. Me and Luke are gonna have to do like another 6-shot challenge where the loser has to wear the winner's choice of jersey.
yeah. Yeah, we'll be out to, and we'll definitely be Nationals in Vegas again next year. So we'll be out there again for that, and then we're gonna have to get you out to Kansas City here one of these times for some of this famous Kansas City barbecue.
Oh yes, I mean I'm a big guy. You know I like food. Yeah, I mean I'm
Smoked
planning a trip
wings.
anyway to the CTD training center, which is only like an hour or two away from you.
Oh yeah.
So I'll probably
Okay.
just knock them out all in
Yeah.
the same trip.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But
So
until next time.
yeah, thanks much everybody. We'll see you on the next video.
Yeah, man.